Welcome to tonight's story. If you're watching this in the dark, maybe keep a light on, because what you're about to hear isn't about ghosts or curses. It is about something that actually happened to an ordinary family. And the scariest part, it could happen to anyone. This is the story of the missing photos. When the Reynolds family moved into the old house on Brookfield Avenue, it felt like a fresh start. Tom had just gotten a promotion at the insurance firm, and his wife, Lily, wanted a bigger place for their two kids. 11-year-old Emma and her younger brother, Jack. The house was old, built sometime in the 50s, with those narrow hallways and squeaky wooden floors that felt nostalgic more than creepy. The first few weeks went by smoothly. New furniture, fresh paint, the sound of cartoons in the background. Everything felt perfectly normal, until one Saturday afternoon when Tom decided to clean the attic. He came down, covered in dust, holding an old cardboard box. "Found some junk up there," he said. "A couple of Christmas ornaments, some books, and this." He held up a small, yellow disposable camera. The kind people used before phones took over. The Kodak logo was almost rubbed off. Lily laughed. "Does that even still work?" "I don't know," Tom said, "but I think there's film in it. Maybe whoever lived here before left it behind." They decided to get it developed out of curiosity. Tom took it to a small photo shop downtown, one of the few that still processed film. A week later, he picked up the prints. That night, after dinner, the family sat together in the living room and opened the envelope. The first few photos were nothing unusual. Blurry shots of furniture, corners of walls, a staircase, probably someone testing the camera. But as they went through the stack, Lily frowned. "These are all from inside this house," she said. Tom leaned in. "What do you mean?" "Look," she said, pointing at one photo. "That's the kitchen. Our kitchen. The same window. The same tile. But there's no furniture. It looks old, like before we moved in." Tom squinted. The photos showed their kitchen from a low angle, like someone had taken it while crouching behind the table. The next picture showed the hallway, the one outside Emma's bedroom. Again, the angle was strange, taken from near the floor, behind the corner wall. Jack laughed nervously. "Maybe it's just the old owners, right?" But Lily wasn't smiling anymore. She noticed something else, the light in the photos. It wasn't daylight. It looked dim, yellowish, like it had been taken at night. Tom flipped through the next few quickly. The living room, the staircase, back door, all from low, hidden angles. "Okay, that's weird," Tom muttered. Then came the last photo. It was darker than the rest, grainy and slightly blurred, but they could all see what it showed. A small bed, a nightstand, and a little girl sleeping. Emma gasped. That's my room." Tom felt his stomach tighten. The wallpaper pattern, the stars and moons Lily had picked out, was unmistakable, but the picture was clearly taken before they'd moved in. The room was empty except for the bed and the sleeping girl. "Maybe someone else lived here before with a kid," Lily said softly, though her voice trembled. "Yeah, maybe," Tom replied, trying to convince himself. But as they looked closer, they noticed something even worse. In the corner of the photo, a faint reflection in the mirror, there was a figure, a tall shape, blurry, but definitely human. It looked like someone standing there, watching the girls sleep. And the shape was holding a camera. That night, Lily couldn't sleep. She kept turning in bed, replaying those photos in her mind. The angles, the shadows, that reflection. At around 2:45 a.m., she heard something, a faint click sound, like the snap of a camera shutter. She sat up, heart pounding, and looked toward the hallway. Silence. Then she heard it again. Click, click. She got out of bed slowly, whispering, "Tom," but Tom was asleep, turned away from her. She walked toward Emma's room. The sound had stopped. The door was slightly open. Lily pushed it gently, her hand shaking. Emma was asleep, her breathing soft and steady. Nothing seemed wrong, but when Lily turned to leave, something made her glance at the mirror across the room. There, for just half a second, she thought she saw the flash of a camera lens, a tiny red light, before it vanished. Lily didn't tell Tom about the camera flash she thought she'd seen. Not that night. She didn't want to sound paranoid. Maybe it was a trick of the light, or maybe she was just exhausted. But the next morning, she checked the mirror again. Nothing unusual. Tom was already downstairs making breakfast. He had the photos spread out on the counter, still trying to make sense of them. Maybe the house was for sale and the realtor took these, he said, holding one up to the light. Lily frowned. At night, from behind furniture. Tom didn't answer. Emma came in, rubbing her eyes. Mom, did you come into my room last night? Lily froze. No, sweetheart. Why? I thought I heard you whispering, Emma said. It sounded like you were right next to my bed. Lily tried to smile. Probably just a dream, but a cold and tea. Shake the image of that last photo, the one of the little girl asleep in the same bed. That evening, Tom decided to throw the pictures away. It's just junk, Lils. We're freaking ourselves out. He tossed the envelope into the trash, then rolled the bag tight and carried it outside to the bin. A bin, double-checked. The lid. But the next morning, when Lily went into the kitchen, the envelope was sitting neatly on the counter. She stared at it for a long time. The photos were back inside every single one of them. And right on top was a new one she had seen before. It showed the living room exactly as it looked now. The same couch, same rug, same lamp. The only difference was the angle. It was taken from behind the couch, and there, sitting on the couch, was Lily. She was wearing the same pajamas she'd had on last night. Tom thought it was a prank. He searched the whole house, room by room, looking for hidden cameras. Nothing. No signs of a break-in, but when he checked the back door, the lock looked off. The latch was slightly bent, as if someone had forced it once, long ago. That night, Tom stayed up late in the living room, determined to catch whoever was doing this. He turned off the lights and waited in the dark, phone in and eyes, on the hallway. At 1:37 a.m., the air turned colder. He could feel it, that heavy stillness, like before a thunderstorm. Then came the faintest creak from upstairs. He gripped his phone tighter. Another sound. Slow, careful footsteps. The floorboards groaned just once, then silence. Tom stood and crept toward the staircase, every step deliberate. He could hear his heartbeat pounding in his ears. Halfway up the stairs, a sudden flash of white light filled the hall. He stumbled back, blinded for a second. By the time he looked up again, the hall was empty. He ran to Emma's room. She was asleep. Jack, too. He woke Lily, his voice shaking. Someone's in this house. I swear to God. I saw a flash. They called the police. Officers searched every corner, even the attic. Nothing. No footprints. No sign of forced entry. No fingerprints on the windows. The officer said maybe it was a reflection from a car outside. Maybe a neighbor's light. He sounded unconvinced himself. Before leaving, one of the officers looked at the family photo on the wall. Their move-in day picture. Nice place, he said. But if you want my advice, change the locks. All of them. The next day, Lily went to wake the kids for school. As she opened Emma's door, she noticed something on the nightstand. Another photo. She picked it up. Her hands started trembling. It was Emma, asleep, taken from just a few feet away. The same pajamas she wore last night. Tom grabbed the photo. This isn't possible, he whispered. We were awake. We were checking the house. Lily's voice cracked. Tom, what if they never left? Tom stared at her. What are you talking about? What if whoever took those pictures before? What if Terry's still here? He laughed nervously, but it didn't sound real. You're saying someone's living in our house? Well, Lily. In the walls? She didn't answer, but the idea clung to her. That night, while Tom and the kids slept, she sat at the kitchen table, scrolling through her phone, reading old articles about hidden tenants. People secretly living in attics or crawl spaces. It sounded insane until she remembered the attic. Tom had only been up there once. She grabbed a flashlight and a stepladder, quietly pushing open the attic hatch. The air was stale and cold. She climbed up slowly, sweeping the light across the dusty beams. Then she saw a small pile of things in the corner. A water bottle, a half-eaten sandwich, a sleeping bag, and next to it, a camera, the same yellow disposable one they'd found weeks ago. Only this one was new. Lily's breath caught in her throat. The beam of her flashlight trembled as she crouched beside the pile. The sandwich was old, dry, probably days old, but the water bottle was half full, condensation still clinging to the sides. Whoever had been up here had been here recently. Her hand shook as she reached for the camera. It was the same brand, the same cheap plastic body, but newer, cleaner. She turned it over. The film counter read 7. 7 pictures left. She nearly dropped it when a floorboard creaked behind her. "Mills." Tom's voice floated up from the ladder. "What the hell are you doing up there?" Lily exhaled, her heart pounding.
"Tom, someone's been living here."
"Look." Tom climbed up, his face pale in the flashlight beam. He looked at the sleeping bag, the food, the camera. Jesus Christ. They both froze at a faint sound from the corner. A scuttling noise, light but unmistakable. Tom swung the flashlight toward the far wall. Nothing. He swallowed hard. "We're calling the cops." Now. But when they came back with the police 20 minutes later, the sleeping bag and food were gone. The attic floor was empty, spotless. The officer frowned. "You're sure this stuff was here?" Tom nodded. "I swear, someone's been living up there." The cop scribbled notes. "Could be a squatter. We'll have a patrol drive by for the next few nights." But Lily could tell by his tone he didn't believe them. That night, Lily couldn't close her eyes. She lay awake, listening. Every creak, every whisper of wind made her heart jump. Around 3 a.m., she finally got up and went downstairs for water. As she passed the hallway, something glinted on the floor near the front door. It was another photo. She knelt to pick it up, her hands trembling. The picture showed the kitchen, the same counter, same bowl of fruit. But there was something else. In the reflection of the microwave door, she could see herself, standing in the kitchen, holding the flashlight. It was this moment. She screamed. Tom came running, half asleep, grabbing her shoulders. "What? What is it?" She just held the photo out, her voice breaking. "He's here. Tom. He's in the house right now." Tom grabbed a baseball bat and tore through the rooms, flipping lights, opening closets, shouting. The kids woke up crying. He found nothing. When the police arrived again, they searched the house top to bottom. No footprints, no fingerprints, no forced entry. One officer pulled Tom aside.
"Look, sir! I've seen this before!"
Sometimes people get fixated on things when they're under stress. Maybe throw the photos away for good. Start fresh. Tom didn't answer. The next morning, the kids stayed home from school. Tom went to work late, exhausted. Lily decided she couldn't take it anymore. She needed proof, something she could show the police. She set up her phone in the living room, angled toward the hallway, recording. She left it running for hours while she cleaned, cooked, and tried to keep her mind occupied. That evening, after putting the kids to bed, she sat on the couch and pressed play. For the first hour, nothing. Just her walking in and out, folding laundry, vacuuming. Then, around 1:13 p.m., while she was upstairs putting away clothes, movement flickered at the edge of the frame. Someone had stepped into the living room. The figure was tall, wearing a hooded sweatshirt, face completely hidden. He moved slowly, deliberately, crouching behind the couch, the same spot from that earlier photo. Lilia's hand covered her mouth as she watched him pull something from his pocket. A small disposable camera. He lifted it, pointed it toward the hallway, and clicked. Then he turned his head, directly facing the phone's camera, as if he knew it was there. And he smiled. Lily felt her stomach drop. The man's teeth were dark, his grin crooked, unnatural. He held up a finger to his lips, almost playfully before the screen went black. The video just cut off. When Tom got home, she showed him the footage. A went pale, whispering, "That's the same guy from the reflection, the one holding the camera in that old photo." They packed overnight bags within minutes. The kids were confused, crying, but Lily couldn't stay another second in that house. They checked into a motel across town, small but safe. Tom called the police again and handed over the video. This time, the officers didn't brush it off. One of them promised to send a forensics team the next morning. That night, in the motel, Lily finally felt like she could breathe, until she realized she'd forgotten her purse back at the house. Tom groaned. "It's fine, I'll go get it." She tried to stop him, but he kissed her forehead and said, "I'll be 15 minutes, tops." He left at 11:32 p.m. At 12:08, her phone buzzed. A notification. It was an email. No subject line, no sender, name. Just an attachment. She opened Italiano. It was a photo. Her family, her, Tom, Emma, and Jack, all asleep in the motel room, taken from the corner of the ceiling. Lily's hand shook so hard she nearly dropped her phone. The photo on her screen showed the motel room exactly as it was, her suitcase by the door, Jack's stuffed bear on the floor, but she couldn't understand how it existed. She'd been awake, scrolling, just minutes ago. Her first thought was to wake Tom. Then she remembered he wasn't there. She tried calling him. No answer. She called again, straight to voicemail. By the fourth attempt, she was crying, whispering his name through clenched teeth. Finally, the motel's front desk answered. The clerk sounded half asleep, until Lily S. words tumbled out. "My husband, he left 15 minutes ago. He's not answering. Please call the police, someone's following us. They promised to send someone up." But before she could hang up, she heard the motel doors deadbolt click. She froze. "Tom," she whispered. No reply. A shape moved behind the thin curtains. A tall outline. She pulled the kids close, trying not to breathe. The handle turned once, stopped, then turned again, slow and patient. Lily grabbed the motel phone, heart racing, but the line went dead just. A low hum, a light flash filled the room. Click! Her scream woke the children. The door burst open and Tom stumbled inside. He was shaking, out of breath. "Lily, it's it's me." She ran to him, clutching his shirt. "Where were you?" He stopped mid-sentence when he saw the photo on her phone. His face drained of color. "Who sent that?" "I don't know. It just appeared." Tom stared at the motel door. The frame was splintered slightly near the latch, as if someone had tried forcing it moments before he arrived. They left the motel at sunrise, driving straight to the police station. The detective who took their case, a tired-looking man named Jacobs, studied the photos and video carefully. After a long pause, he said quietly, "You're not the first." "What do you mean?" Tom asked. Jacobs leaned forward. "That house, on Brookfield, we've had reports before. Break-ins, missing people. The previous owners moved out after their daughter disappeared." Lily felt dizzy, the little girl in the photo. Jacobs nodded slowly. "We think she was the first victim." They showed him the new photos, including the one from the motel. He frowned, tapping his pen. "Whoever this is, he's following you, but we'll find him." The police placed them in protective housing for a few days. The kids stayed quiet, clinging to each other. Tom barely slept. On the third night, Lily woke to footsteps again. Only this time, they were above them, slow, dragging steps across the ceiling. She sat up, listening. The sound stopped. Then came a faint, distant click. She shook Tom awake. "He's here." Tom jumped up, grabbed his phone, hit record, and pointed it toward the ceiling. "If he's up there, we'll have proof. Another click. Closer. This time. Lily whispered, "It's not the attic anymore." The noise shifted down the hallway, then right outside their door. Tom turned the handle fast and yanked the door open. Empty.
Hallway?
But lying on the floor, right against the threshold, was another envelope. He picked it up with shaking hands. Inside were 3 photos. The first showed the outside of the motel, their car parked right where it was now. The second showed the hallway from behind them. The third, Tom's face went white. Itzoed. Im standing at the door, holding the envelope, looking terrified. The timestamp printed at the bottom read 10:42 p.m. He looked at his phone. The time was 10:42 p.m. Lily whispered, "Tom, put it down." But before he could move, a shadow stretched across the floor from the ceiling light. A long arm, thin fingers holding something small and boxy. Click. The flash blinded them both. When the police arrived the next morning, the room was empty. No signs of struggle, just an envelope on the table containing 2 photos. One showed the bed, sheets rumpled, but no one in it. The second showed a dark attic, dusty beams, broken insulation, and 4 sleeping bags arranged neatly in a row. In the corner, a man's silhouette stood half in shadow, camera raised. Months later, the motel closed permanently. The Brookfield house stayed empty, curtains drawn. But sometimes, local kids say, if you drive past after midnight, you'll see a flash from one of the upstairs windows quick, like a camera taking a picture. No one ever goes in to check, because everyone in that town knows. Once you're in one of his photos, he already knows where to find you next. End of story. End of story.